Hi, friends. Today I wanted to talk about inner processing of the external world. So, we're all doing this at all times. The external world, whatever it may comprise of, people in our lives, situations that are occurring, the weather, places we live in, places we travel to, pretty much everything that's outside of ourselves is the external world that's been provided to us. All of the understanding and processing of that external world is happening inside us. And this is such an interesting concept because we are constantly trying to figure out or understand the external world through an internal processing. It would be quite simple if our internal processing remained present in the present moment and it was not influenced by anything else. However, this is not the case. As we all know, our internal processing is very much influenced by how we were conditioned, raised, the patterns that we formed, the way we understood things to be. We're constantly pulling from that knowledge and understanding the world as it presents itself, especially people around us. If you're anything like me, I often get stuck in my processing of people who are perhaps living their life or behaving in ways towards themselves or towards others or even towards me in ways that are different from how I was conditioned to believe the right way. Again, I've said this many times before, there really is no right or wrong. There is just what is. Right and wrong occurs when we listen to our own conditioning and by the patterns of this is what's right and wrong as it was told to us while we were growing up. So the couple of points that I want to make setting that stage, the inner processing of the external world, is specifically around people. So the people in our lives, be they friends, family members, strangers, acquaintances, past friends. We've got very many names for different relationships in our human world. If we were to think of every single person who's around us as a character in a book, for example, when we read a book and we encounter different characters, different personalities, um, we're often accepting them for who they are. We're we're kind of thinking, well, maybe perhaps this person's not making the best choices, not the choice I would make, but we go along with it because it's a fictional character. Now, what if every single human that we encounter, including ourselves, have our own storyline? This storyline, they're not privy to it, we're not privy to it. However, it exists. And no matter what, this person is going to live out their storyline. They're going to be that character in a book. And all we can do is observe and accept. Um, Often, what we do is we judge and try to control, especially if they're people that we are, in a family with or we have some amount of a relationship with. So it's interesting if you find yourself controlling or judging, and I definitely has been my default for a very long time until I've started to really analyze it. Perhaps think about, what if I just observed them living their storyline as if they were a character in a book? How they play out from their ego center, how they play out from their spiritual center, um, and how it helps them make the choices that they do. These choices may not resonate with who we are, but that's just the choice they make. And the second point is, what if whoever they are presents a mirror to us to examine all of that conditioning that comes up, that wants us to judge them, that wants us to put them in a box, that wants us to perhaps feel whatever feelings we feel toward them, especially if the feelings are those of rejection or ones where we want to push them away. Examine who shows up as a personality within us when that external person presents themselves, when their storyline plays out. How do we want to judge, and why, and who wants to judge inside us? So let them become that mirror. So they're actually doing us a favor, because they're showing us a part of us that we would have never seen had they not behaved in that way or existed. And then examine that part. I feel like to the most part of why we're here is we're here to examine all of that that's hidden within us, that is exposed when we meet different types of people living different storylines. So next time you're upset or angry or disgusted by someone, you want to reject how they're behaving toward themselves or how they're living their life, you want to judge them quite harshly. Imagine that that person's holding up a mirror and you're looking at that part of you that wants to exert all of those behaviors towards them. And then sit with those different parts of you to understand where they were formulated, when their life began, and how they prevent you perhaps from living the life that you want to. It was a very interesting experiment when I started to do that, because then it didn't become about the other person at all. They were just living out a storyline. They were a character from a book, and they were just going to do exactly what their storyline was written out for them. But it made it quite interesting for me, because I started to notice just the little parts of me that were getting irritated or upset or impatient at things that they were doing that were really meaningless to my life, but different from my life. So ego comes up in many different ways. And so this was a very interesting experiment to conduct. And I really urge you to do that. So if you wish to have a little bit of entertainment as we go about this life, examine the storyline that a person is living and examine the parts of you that are judging them for their storyline, and just find the humor in it. Have a good one.